Zora Neale Hurston's 1937 novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God, is now considered an American classic piece of literature, but at its initial release, it wasn't received nearly as well. This novel was deeply personable to Hurston, and its themes and styles reflect this. So let's turn the page and understand why and how this novel ended up where it is today in American literature history. Hurston grew up in Eatonville, Florida, the first fully black town in the state of Florida. She would write this town directly into the novel, along with other locations and experiences she actually experienced as a black woman in the South. Hurston was known for her unique writing style, introducing aspects of her own life experiences, but also mixing them with black folklore and storytelling styles to further emphasize her points. This is particularly present in Their Eyes Were Watching God, as this novel is told through a framed narrative in which the entire story is told by the main character Janie to her friend Phoebe after these events actually happened. This helps show her transition from enforced silence, in which she struggled to voice her emotions, to self-expression. Hurston incorporates African American vernacular speech in this storytelling, emphasizing its richness and expressive power. This choice challenges traditional literary norms and highlights the importance of cultural identity in storytelling. Hurston's work relies on the strength of language itself to convey meaning and resist dominant narratives. This novel also explores themes of the value of love within these societies, showing Janie's complex understanding of what this emotion means through her different partners. This mirrored Hurston's similarly complicated love life, as she had married and divorced 3 husbands and, at age 44, fell in love with a 23-year-old man. When he asked her to forsake her career to marry him, she refused because she had things clawing inside her that must be said. She wrote Their Eyes Were Watching God, trying in its pages to embalm all the tenderness of her passion for him. Hurston deeply explores these themes in the story, rejecting the idea that love should require a woman to sacrifice her independence. This is primarily proved by the introduction of Tea Cake at the end of the story, who, despite still being corrupted by the world around him, gives Janie her freedom, making him the closest to her one true love. This view of love and culture develops the trauma of the world that Janie lives in as it's described in the novel. Traditional trauma theory often focuses on individual experiences and suggests that trauma cannot be fully expressed in language. However, this approach is limited when applied to collective experiences like slavery and systemic oppression. These forms of trauma affect entire communities over generations, shaping identity and relationships in lasting ways. This is exactly what Hurston set out to prove with this novel. Upon release, Hurston's novels were widely shut down by the Harlem Renaissance, as they favored the social realism style, which was traditionally, overtly political left-wing radicalist literature. Hurston's writing was considered not to be radical or political enough for the time, and her novels were therefore thrown into obscenity. Hurston died penniless in 1960, and her works wouldn't be revived until an article named In Search of Zora Neale Hurston would be published in Ms. Magazine in 1975. Upon its revival, the novel worked its way into the importance it now has. Zora Neale Hurston is now often viewed as the first in a succession of great American black women writers that includes Alice Walker, Toni Morrison, and Gloria Naylor, proving that without a novel such as Their Eyes Were Watching God, American literature could have shown a completely different representation of the black experience at this point in history.